Hey, it's Peter. So look, I'm 35 years old, and I currently have 7 different income streams that collectively bring in about $184,000 a year. And before you click away thinking this is another one of those I got rich quick stories or some guru nonsense, let me be clear. I started with literally nothing special. No trust fund, no inheritance, no rich parents bailing me out. I was 27, making $52,000 a year at a job I hated, living in an expensive city where rent was eating half my paycheck, and I had $31,000 in student debt. Here's what's crazy, though. Most people think building multiple income streams means you need to work 80-hour weeks or have some insider knowledge or get lucky with crypto or whatever. And honestly, that's complete BS. The system I'm about to show you, and I mean the actual step-by-step system, it's something anyone can replicate. It just requires understanding how income streams actually work, which most financial content completely glosses over. Now, I'm going to spend the next couple hours breaking down exactly how I did this, and I mean exactly. Real numbers, real timelines, real mistakes I made, so you don't have to. But here's the deal. I'm saving the most powerful strategy for the very end of this video. It's the one income stream that took me from this is working to holy crap, this is actually changing my life. Most people never even consider it because they think it's too complicated or too risky. It's neither, and I'll prove it to you. So stick with me. We're going to cover the complete blueprint here. Not tips, not hacks, a full system that builds on itself. By the end, you'll know exactly what to do first, second, third, and so on. You'll understand the math behind it. You'll see why certain income streams matter more than others at different stages, and you'll have a roadmap you can actually follow. If you're someone who's feeling stuck financially, who knows you should be doing more but you're not sure where to start, who's tired of living paycheck to paycheck even though you're working your ass off, this is for you. Let's get into it. Okay, so here's the thing that nobody wants to admit. The traditional financial advice you've been getting your whole life, it's designed for a world that doesn't exist anymore. Think about it. You were probably told to go to college, get a good job, work there for 30 years, and retire with a pension, right? That was the plan. Except pensions basically don't exist anymore, job loyalty means nothing, and wages haven't kept up with inflation in decades. I remember when I first graduated college in 2016. I got this job that paid $45,000 a year, and I thought I was doing okay. My parents were proud, my friends were like, "Nice, you got a real job." But here's what actually happened. After taxes, I was taking home about $2,900 a month. My rent was $1,400. Car payment, insurance, groceries, utilities, phone. By the time I paid for basic existence, I had maybe $300 left. Maybe. And everyone kept telling me, "Oh, just save 10% of your income." Cool. 10% of $2,900 is $290. So after a full year of perfect saving, which never happened because life happens, I'd have $3,480. That's it. At that rate, I'd have $34,800 after 10 years, which sounds like a lot until you realize that doesn't even cover 1 year of emergencies, let alone retirement, let alone any kind of financial freedom. You know what's really messed up? If you told someone in 1980 that Americans would be working harder than ever, more educated than ever, and less financially secure than ever, they'd think you were insane. But that's exactly where we are. The median household income in the US right now is around $75,000. Sounds decent, right? Except the median home price is north of $400,000. Do the math. That's more than 5x your annual income. In the 1980s, it was closer to 3x. Everything got more expensive, but wages stayed flat. So yeah, if you feel like you're running faster just to stay in place, that's because you literally are. But here's what changed everything for me, and this is where we're going to start building your system. I realized that relying on one income source is the actual risk, not having multiple income streams. We're taught that having one stable job is safe, but is it? What happens if you get laid off? What happens if your industry changes? What happens if you get sick and can't work for 3 months? That stable income disappears overnight, and you're screwed. Having multiple income streams is like having a financial safety net made of steel instead of one rope you're dangling from. If one stream dries up, you've got 6 others. If one has a bad year, the others compensate. And here's the real kicker. Once you understand how to build one income stream properly, building the second, third, and fourth gets exponentially easier.
Now, before we get into the specific streams, we need to talk about the framework. Because if you just start randomly trying to make money from different sources without a system, you're going to burn out and quit. I see this all the time. People try to do everything at once. Start a side hustle, invest in stocks, launch a YouTube channel, flip products on eBay, and 6 months later, they've made $400 total and they're exhausted. That's not how this works.
Chapter 2. The Income Streams Hierarchy. What to build first, second, and why. All right, so let's talk about the hierarchy of income streams. This is crucial, and it's something most finance content completely ignores. Not all income streams are created equal. Some require a lot of time but little money. Others require money but little time. Some pay off immediately. Others take years but eventually become truly passive. And the order you build them in matters more than you think. Here's the framework I used, and it's the same one I recommend to everyone. Phase 1. Active Earned Income, months 1 through 12. This is your job or your main hustle. It's active, meaning you trade time for money directly. It's not sexy, it's not passive, but it's necessary because it funds everything else. Your goal in Phase 1 isn't to build passive income yet. It's to maximize your active income while keeping your expenses low enough that you can save aggressively. We're talking 30 to 40% of your take-home pay if possible. I know, that sounds insane. Peter, I can barely save 5%. I get it. We'll address that. But understand this. The faster you can save, the faster you can invest, and the faster compound growth starts working for you instead of against you. Phase 2. Simple passive income, months 6 to 18. Once you've got some savings built up, and I'm talking like $5,000 minimum, you start building simple passive income streams. These are things like index fund investing, high-yield savings accounts, maybe a rental property if you can swing it. The key word here is simple. You're not day trading, you're not buying crypto. You're building boring, reliable streams that require almost no ongoing effort. Phase 3. Leveraged income, months 12 to 36. This is where you start using your time or money more efficiently. Maybe you start a side business that could eventually run without you. Maybe you invest in dividend-paying stocks. Maybe you create a digital product you can sell repeatedly. The idea is that each hour you put in, or each dollar you invest, generates returns beyond the initial input. Phase 4. Fully passive income, year 2 plus. This is the end game. Income that comes in whether you work or not. Real estate equity, dividend portfolios, businesses you own but don't operate, royalties from products or content. This is what everyone wants, but you can't skip to here. You have to build the foundation first. Most people try to jump straight to Phase 4, and that's why they fail. You need the cash flow from Phase 1 to fund Phase 2. You need the passive income from Phase 2 to give you runway for Phase 3. It's a progression, not a menu where you pick and choose. Think of it like building a house. You can't start with the roof. You need the foundation, then the walls, then the roof. Income streams work the same way. So, when I started at 27, here's what I actually did. Year 1. I focused entirely on maxing out my active income and cutting my expenses. I switched jobs and negotiated a $58,000 salary. Not a huge jump, but $6,000 more per year. I moved to a cheaper apartment, went from $1,400 a month to $1,050 by getting a roommate. Yeah, it sucked. I was 27 living with a roommate, but that single decision saved me $4,200 a year. I cut my subscriptions, meal prepped, drove my car into the ground instead of upgrading. I was saving about $1,100 a month at this point. Year 2. Once I had about $13,000 saved up, I started investing. Opened a Roth IRA, started putting money into index funds, kept building that savings. By the end of year 2, I had about $26,000 saved/invested, and my investments had made me about $2,100. Not much, but it was something. Year 3. This is when I started my first real side business. We'll get into the details later, but I started freelancing in my field. Made an extra $8,500 that year on top of my main job. Took about 8 hours a week. You see the progression? Each phase funded the next. And here's what's crazy. By year 4, I had 4 income streams going.
By year 6, I had 6. By year 8, I had 7. And the later ones were easier to build because I had more resources and more knowledge. Now let me show you exactly what those 7 streams are, how much each makes, and how you can build them.
I spent 6 months becoming the absolute best at the core functions of my role. I studied what the top performers in my company were doing. I took on projects nobody else wanted. I made my boss's life easier. And after 6 months, I had built up enough credibility to ask for a raise. Here's the script I used, and you can steal this. Hey, boss name. I wanted to talk about my compensation. Over the past 6 months, I've taken on specific projects, delivered specific results, and contributed specific value. Based on the market rate for someone with my skills and experience, I believe my salary should be in the range of 15 to 20% more than current. Can we discuss bringing my compensation in line with my contributions? Notice what I didn't say? I didn't say, I've been here a year, or I need more money, or I work really hard. Nobody cares. You need to frame it around value delivered and market rates. Do your research on Glassdoor, PayScale, Levels.fyi if you're in tech. Know what you're worth. This conversation got me from $52,000 to $58,000, a $6,000 raise just for asking with the right framing. Phase 2, strategic job switching. Here's something they don't teach you in school. Loyalty to one company is financial self-sabotage in today's economy. The average raise for staying at your current job is 3 to 4% per year. The average raise for switching jobs is 10 to 20%. Do the math. If you make $50,000 and get a 3% raise every year for 5 years, you'll be making $57,963. If you switch jobs just twice in those 5 years with 15% bumps, you'll be making $66,125. That's an $8,162 difference every single year. I switched jobs 3 times between age 27 and 33. Each time I negotiated a 12 to 18% increase. Here's the key though. You don't switch randomly. You switch strategically. Every 18 to 24 months, I'd start casually interviewing, not because I hated my job, but because I wanted to know my market value. I'd go on interviews, see what I could get, and then either leverage that to get a raise at my current job or make the switch. Year 1, $52,000. Year 2, $58,000, raise at same company. Year 3, $66,000, new company, 13.8% increase. Year 5, $72,000, another company, 9% increase. That's a $20,000 increase in 4 years, all from optimizing my main income stream. Phase 3, negotiate everything. Most people negotiate their base salary and call it a day. That's a mistake. Everything is negotiable. Signing bonus, stock options, 401k match, vacation days, remote work flexibility, professional development budget, even your start date. When I accepted my current role, here's what I negotiated. Base salary, $72,000. Signing bonus, $4,000. One time, but still money. Extra week of vacation worth about $2,769 in salary. $1,500 annual professional development budget, and full remote flexibility. That signing bonus alone was an extra $4,000 in year 1, and the professional development budget, I use that for courses and certifications that make me more valuable, which leads to more raises down the line. Here's the thing about negotiation that most people don't get. Companies expect you to negotiate. If you don't, they're not going to volunteer extra money. They gave you their first offer, and if you accept it without negotiation, they just saved money and you lost respect. The script is, I'm really excited about this opportunity. Based on my research and the value I'll bring, I was expecting the base salary to be in the X to Y range. Is there flexibility there? If they say no to salary, pivot. I understand there might be constraints on the base salary. Can we discuss other aspects of the compensation package? I'm interested in signing bonus or extra PTO or stock options or remote work, etc.
Even if you get one extra week of vacation, that's worth real money. If you make $70,000, 1 week is worth $1,346. Negotiate it once, benefit from it every year. The compounding effect. Here's what people miss about optimizing your W-2 income. Every dollar increase compounds across your entire career. If you're 30 and you negotiate an extra $10,000 per year, that's not just $10,000. That's $10,000 every year until you retire. If you work for 35 more years, that's $350,000. But wait, it's actually more than that because your future raises are percentages of your salary. If you get a 3% raise on $70,000 versus $60,000, that's $2,100 versus $1,800. The gap widens every single year. Plus, and this is huge, your ability to invest goes up. If you're making $60,000 and you save 20%, that's $12,000 a year. If you're making $70,000 and you save 20%, that's $14,000 a year. Over 35 years at a 7% return, that extra $2,000 per year becomes an additional $276,243 in your investment accounts. One negotiation, one conversation can literally be worth over $500,000 across your lifetime. So before you start building any other income stream, optimize this one. Get paid what you're worth. Switch jobs strategically. Negotiate everything. This is your financial foundation. Get it right. Now, what do you do with that optimized income? That brings us to income stream number 2. Chapter 4. Income stream number 2, index fund investing, $12,400 per year. All right, so you've optimized your main income. You're bringing in more money. Now what? Most people blow the extra income. They upgrade their car, move to a nicer place, start eating out more. It's called lifestyle inflation, and it's a killer. Instead, we're going to build your first truly passive income stream, index fund investing.
This is the most boring, most reliable, most important income stream you'll ever build. And right now, my index fund portfolio generates about $12,400 per year. Some of that is dividends, some is capital gains I realize when I sell. But it's all from money I invested over the last 8 years that's been growing on autopilot. Why index funds? Look, I'm not a stock picker. I don't spend hours analyzing individual companies. I don't day trade. I don't try to time the market. Why? Because study after study shows that over 90% of professional fund managers can't beat the market over the long term. If they can't do it with all their resources and expertise, what makes you think you can? Index funds are simple. You're buying a tiny piece of hundreds or thousands of companies all at once. When you buy an S&P 500 index fund, you own a piece of Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and 496 other companies. If one tanks, it barely affects you. If the economy grows, you grow with it. The S&P 500 has averaged about 10.5% annual returns over the last 50 years. Some years it's up 30%, some years it's down 20%, but over time it trends up. And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to do anything. You just buy and hold. The system I used. When I started investing seriously at 28, I had about $8,000 saved up. I was scared to invest it because the market felt volatile. It always does. And I didn't want to lose money. So I did what every beginner does. I researched for months, read a bunch of articles, got paralyzed by information overload. Finally, I just started. And here's what I did. Step 1. Open a Roth IRA. This was the first account I funded. A Roth IRA is a retirement account where you put in after-tax money, but it grows tax-free forever. In 2016, the contribution limit was $5,500 per year, so I put in $5,500. Why a Roth IRA first? Because any gains you make inside a Roth are completely tax-free when you withdraw them in retirement. If you put in $100,000 over your lifetime and it grows to $800,000, you get to keep all $800,000, no taxes on that $700,000 gain. That's insane.
I opened my Roth IRA with Vanguard. You could use Fidelity or Charles Schwab too, they're all fine. Just pick one and stick with it. I put that initial $5,500 into VTSAX and never looked at it for a year. Best decision ever. Step 3. Automate monthly contributions. Here's where the real magic happens. After that initial investment, I set up automatic transfers from my checking account to my Roth IRA every month. Started with $300 a month. $300 a month is $3,600 per year. Not huge, but consistent, and consistency beats large, irregular investments every single time. Why? Because of dollar cost averaging. When the market is high, your $300 buys fewer shares. When the market crashes, your $300 buys more shares. Over time, you smooth out the volatility and you remove emotion from the equation. You're not trying to time the market. You're just buying every single month, regardless of what's happening. I cannot stress this enough. Automation is everything. If you have to manually remember to invest every month, you'll skip it. Life happens. You'll forget. You'll convince yourself to wait until the market dips. Just automate it and forget it. Step 5. Max it out every year. Once I got more comfortable and my income increased, I increased my monthly contributions. The goal became to max out my Roth IRA every year. In 2025, the limit is $7,000 per year, $583 per month. If you're 50 or older, you can contribute $8,000. By year 3, I was maxing out my Roth IRA. That's $7,000 every year, growing at an average of 10% annually becomes a stupid amount of money over time. Let me show you the math. Age 27, start contributing $7,000 a year to a Roth IRA. Average return, 10% per year, conservative for long-term stock market. Age 65, you've contributed $266,000 total over 38 years. Your account value, $2,134,000. $2 million, tax-free, from contributing $583 a month. Actually, let me rephrase that. From not spending $583 a month on stuff you don't need and instead investing it. That's the real shift. Step 5. Open a taxable brokerage account. Once I was maxing out my Roth IRA, I opened a regular taxable brokerage account and started investing there too. Same strategy. Automatic monthly contributions, buying VTSAX or VTI in my taxable account because ETFs are slightly more tax efficient. Now, you don't get the same tax benefits as a Roth IRA, but here's the advantage. No contribution limits and you can withdraw any time without penalties. This is where I put extra savings beyond the $7,000 Roth limit. Currently, I contribute about $800 a month to my taxable brokerage on top of maxing my Roth. That's $9,600 per year in my taxable account. The current numbers. After 8 years of consistent investing, Roth IRA balance, $94,000, contributed $53,000, gained $41,000. Taxable brokerage, $68,000, contributed $48,000, gained $20,000. Total portfolio, $162,000. That portfolio generates about $12,400 per year in returns. Some years more, some less, but average. Some of that I reinvest, some I take as cash depending on my needs. Common mistakes I see. Mistake number 1, I'll wait until the market dips. You'll be waiting forever. The best time to invest was yesterday. The second best time is today. Trying to time the market is how you miss years of growth. Mistake number 2, I need to research individual stocks. No, you don't. That's for people who want investing to be a hobby. For people who want investing to fund their life, index funds are the answer. Simple, boring, effective. Mistake number 3, I can't afford to invest right now. Start with $50 a month. Seriously, $50 a month invested from age 25 to 65 at 10% returns is $316,000. That's from never increasing your contribution. If you wait until you can afford it, you'll never start. Mistake number 4, what if the market crashes? It will, multiple times in your lifetime, and you keep investing through it. In fact, market crashes are the best time to invest because everything is on sale. The people who freak out and sell during crashes are the ones who lose money. The people who keep buying are the ones who get rich. March 2020, COVID hit. Market dropped 34% in a month. I kept buying. By August 2020, the market was back to all-time highs. If I had stopped investing or sold in panic, I'd have missed insane gains. The bottom line, index fund investing is the foundation of long-term wealth building. It's passive, requires almost no effort after setup, it's reliable, consistent growth over decades, and it's accessible. You can start with $100. This is income stream number 2. Get it set up this week, not next month, this week. Open the account, make the first contribution, set up the automation. Future you will thank present you. Remember, I'm saving the best income stream for the end of this video, but everything builds on this foundation. You need cash-generating assets working for you. This is step 1. Now let's talk about income stream number 3, which is where things start getting interesting. Okay, so index funds are great for long-term growth, but they're volatile. Some years you're up 25%, some years you're down 15%. What if you need money in the next year or two? What if you want a completely safe place to park cash and still earn something? That's where high-yield savings accounts and treasury bonds come in. This is my third income stream, and it brings in about $3,800 per year. It's not sexy, it's not going to make you rich, but it's completely safe and completely passive. High-yield savings accounts. When I started this journey, I had my savings in a regular bank account at Chase, earning 0.01% interest. Yes, 0.01%. If you had $10,000 in there for a year, you'd earn $1. $1. It's basically nothing. Then I discovered high-yield savings accounts. These are online savings accounts that pay actual interest because they don't have physical branches and can pass the savings to customers. Right now, you can find high-yield savings accounts paying 4 to 5% interest. Let me show you the difference. $10,000 in regular savings at 0.01% is $1 per year. $10,000 in high-yield savings at 4.5% is $450 per year. That's $449 extra per year for literally doing nothing except putting your money in a different account. I use Marcus by Goldman Sachs for my high-yield savings. There's also Ally Bank, American Express Personal Savings, Capital One 360. They're all good. Just find one that's FDIC insured, which all major ones are, and has no monthly fees. Here's my system. I keep my emergency fund in high-yield savings. Right now, I have $50,000 there. At 4.5% interest, that generates $2,250 per year. Every month, $187.50 hits my account automatically. I don't do anything. Some people say, why keep $50,000 in savings? You should invest it. And look, they're not wrong if you're purely optimizing for returns, but here's the thing. Having a solid emergency fund lets me take risks elsewhere. I can invest aggressively in stocks because I know if something goes wrong, I've got 6 months of expenses covered. It's not about the return on this money. It's about the peace of mind that lets me be aggressive with my investment money. Plus, 4.5% on money that's completely liquid and completely safe? I'll take it. Treasury bonds and I-bonds and T-bills. Now let's talk about the other part of this income stream. Treasury bonds are loans you make to the U.S. government. They pay you interest, and they're considered the safest investment on earth because they're backed by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government. The government has never defaulted on its debt and never will. They literally print the money. There are different types of treasury bonds, but the two I use are I-bonds and T-bills. I-bonds are Series I savings bonds. These are inflation-protected savings bonds. The interest rate adjusts every 6 months based on inflation. When inflation is high, I-bonds pay more. When inflation is low, they pay less, but you can never lose money. In 2022, when inflation hit 9%, I-bonds were paying 9.62%. That's insane for a risk-free investment. Right now, as of late 2024, they're paying around 5.27%. The catch, you can only buy $10,000 worth per person per year, and you can't touch the money for 1 year. If you withdraw before 5 years, you lose 3 months of interest. But if you can lock the money up for at least a year, it's an amazing deal.
I bought $10,000 of I-bonds in 2022, another $10,000 in 2023, and $10,000 in 2024. That's $30,000 total, earning 5 to 9% interest depending on the year. Zero risk. Treasury bills, T-bills. These are short-term government bonds. You can buy T-bills that mature in 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 13 weeks, 26 weeks, or 52 weeks. Right now, 1-year T-bills are paying around 4.8%. The cool thing about T-bills, they're state and local tax exempt. So if you live in a high tax state like California or New York, that 4.8% is actually worth more than 4.8% from a taxable account. I keep about $20,000 in T-bills on a rolling basis. When one matures, I buy another one. It's a ladder system that keeps money coming in every few months while still earning way more than a regular savings account. You buy T-bills directly from the Treasury at treasurydirect.gov. The interface is terrible, looks like it was built in 1997, but it works. The current breakdown. Here's exactly what I have in this income stream. $50,000 in high-yield savings at 4.5% equals $2,250 a year. $30,000 in I-bonds at average of 5.5% equals $1,650 a year. $20,000 in T-bills at 4.8% equals $960 a year. Total, $3,860 per year. That's $321 per month in completely passive, completely safe income. It'll never make me rich, but it's money I don't have to think about. Why this matters. Most people overlook this income stream because the returns aren't as exciting as stocks or real estate. But here's why it's critical. 1. Stability. When the stock market drops 20%, this money doesn't move. It keeps earning the same interest. 2. Liquidity. High-yield savings is available instantly. If I need cash tomorrow, it's there. 3. Sleep factor. Knowing I have $100,000 in safe, interest-earning accounts lets me sleep better at night. I can take bigger risks elsewhere because my foundation is solid. 4. Opportunity fund. When opportunities come up, a great investment, a business idea, a market crash, I have liquid capital ready to deploy. Think of this as your financial foundation. It's not flashy, but every building needs a foundation. Without it, everything else is shaky. Set this up once, let it run forever. That's passive income. Next up, we're getting into the income streams that require more active work up front but can generate serious money. This is where I went from, okay, I'm doing fine, to, wait, this might actually work. Chapter 6, Income Stream Number 4, Freelancing and Consulting, $38,000 per year. All right. Now we're getting into the stuff that requires actual work but can scale your income significantly. This is where I started making real money beyond my day job. Freelancing and consulting is my 4th income stream, and it currently brings in about $38,000 per year. That's more than half what my day job pays, and I spend maybe 10 to 12 hours a week on it. Here's what's beautiful about this income stream. You're getting paid for skills you already have. You're not learning some new complicated system. You're not investing capital up front. You're literally just doing what you do at your day job, but on your terms for your own clients at higher rates. How I started, the honest version. When I was 29, I'd been working in marketing for a few years. I was decent at my job. I understood SEO, content strategy, email marketing, nothing revolutionary, but solid skills. And I kept seeing companies posting freelance gigs online for the exact stuff I was doing 40 hours a week anyway. So I thought, what if I just offered to do this for other companies on nights and weekends? First thing I did was set up a simple profile on Upwork. Took me maybe an hour. I wrote a straightforward description. Marketing professional with 4 years experience in SEO and content strategy. I help small businesses get found online. Added my work history, posted a decent headshot, and started applying to jobs. Those first few months, honestly, they sucked. I sent out probably 30 proposals and heard back from 5. Of those 5, only 2 hired me. My first project paid $400 for about 8 hours of work. That's $50 an hour, which felt great at the time. But after Upwork's fees and taxes, it was more like $35 net. But here's the thing. I wasn't doing it for the money at first. I was building a portfolio and getting testimonials. Because once you have proof that you can deliver results, you can charge way more. The framework that changed everything.
After about 6 months of grinding on Upwork, I realized I was doing this wrong. I was competing for price with people from countries where $15 an hour was good money. I'd never win that game. So I shifted my entire approach. Instead of being a generalist competing for small projects, I became a specialist solving specific, expensive problems. Here's the framework. Step 1. Identify your superpower. What's the one thing you're genuinely good at? Not expert level, just good. For me, it was helping companies improve their Google rankings. Make a list of skills you have that businesses actually pay for. Writing, content, copy, technical, grant writing. Design, graphic, web, UX. Development, web, app, automation. Marketing, SEO, social media, email, ads. Business operations, bookkeeping, project management, admin. Coaching or consulting, fitness, career, life, business. Pick one. Don't try to offer everything. Specialists make way more than generalists. Step 2. Find clients with big problems. Small businesses have small budgets. They want to pay $500 for a website. Enterprise companies have big budgets and big problems. They'll pay $5,000 to fix something that's costing them $50,000. Paying me $3,000 for that is a no-brainer. I stopped applying to $300 projects and started targeting companies where my work could demonstrably make them money or save them money. For example, I started reaching out to e-commerce companies doing $500K to $2 million in annual revenue. At that scale, if I could improve their Google rankings and drive 20% more organic traffic, that might mean $10,000 to $20,000 in additional monthly revenue for them. Paying me $3,000 for that is a no-brainer.
Step 3. Create a case study, even if you have to do it for free first. This was the game changer. I offered to do one project for free for a company if they'd give me a detailed testimonial and let me use them as a case study. I found a small e-commerce brand selling outdoor gear, did a full SEO audit and content strategy for them for free. Spent about 15 hours on it. 3 months later, their organic traffic was up 140%, and their revenue from organic search went from $3,200 a month to $8,100 a month. I documented everything, took screenshots of their Google Analytics before and after, got a video testimonial from the owner, put it all on a simple one-page website. Now, when I pitched new clients, I didn't say, I'm good at SEO. I said, I helped company name increase their organic revenue by 153% in 90 days. Here's exactly how I did it. See the difference? One is a claim, the other is proof. Step 4. Price based on value, not time. This is where most people screw up. They think, I'll charge $50 an hour or whatever. That's employee thinking. Consultants and freelancers get paid for outcomes, not hours. When I talk to potential clients, I'd ask, if I could increase your organic traffic by 50% over the next 6 months, what would that be worth to your business? They'd do the math. Well, if we get 50% more traffic, we'd probably get 30 to 40% more leads, which might mean 10 to 15 more customers per month, each worth about $2,000. So like $20,000 to $30,000 in additional revenue. Cool. So delivering that result is worth $20,000 to $30,000 to them. I could charge $8,000 for a 6-month engagement, and they'd still be getting $12,000 to $22,000 in value. Easy sale. Compare that to saying, I charge $75 an hour, and this will take about 40 hours, so $3,000. Same work, way less money, and you're making them think about time instead of value. The specific numbers. Here's what my freelancing income looked like year by year. Year 1, age 29, made $8,500, worked about 15 hours a week, mostly small projects on Upwork. Felt like a grind. Year 2, age 30, made $22,000, started specializing and charging more, down to about 12 hours a week, got my first $4,000 project. Year 3, age 31, made $31,000, built relationships with 3 ongoing clients who paid me monthly retainers. This was the shift from project-based to recurring revenue. Years 4 through 8, age 32 to 35, now making $38,000 per year consistently. I have 4 retainer clients paying me $2,500 to $3,500 per month each for ongoing work.
I spend about 10 to 12 hours per week total across all of them. That's $3,166 per month for 40 to 48 hours of work. Breaks down to about $65 to $80 per hour, but I don't think of it that way. I think of it as recurring revenue that I can rely on. So how to actually start? Your action plan. Look, you might be thinking, that's great for you, Peter, but I don't have skills like that, or I don't know where to find clients. Let me break this down into the exact steps you can take this week. Day 1 to 2, skills audit. Write down every skill you have that businesses pay for. Include stuff from your job, hobbies, things you're naturally good at. Can you write, edit videos, build spreadsheets, manage social media, organize projects? There's something there. Day 3 to 4, pick your niche. Choose one skill and one type of client. I help specific type of business with specific problem. Examples, I help real estate agents set up automated email marketing. Or I help e-commerce brands improve their product photography. Or I help busy executives manage their calendar and travel. Or I help fitness coaches build their social media presence. Specific beats general every time. Week 2. Get your first client. 3 methods that actually work. Method 1. Direct outreach. Make a list of 50 businesses that fit your ideal client profile. Email them. Here's a template. Hi, name. I came across company name and noticed specific observation about their business. I specialize in helping type of business with specific problem. I've helped companies like previous client achieve specific result. Would you be open to a 15-minute call to discuss how I might be able to help company name achieve specific outcome? Best, your name. If you email 50 businesses and get 5 responses and close 1 client, that's a win. Method 2, freelance platforms. Create profiles on Upwork, Fiverr, or Freelancer. Start with lower prices to build reviews, then raise them. Yes, there's competition. Yes, some clients suck, but it works. Method 3, leverage your network. Tell everyone you know that you're doing freelance X. Post on LinkedIn. Message old colleagues. You'd be surprised how many people need exactly what you offer. The mindset shift. Here's what held me back for years. I thought I needed to be an expert to charge people money. That's BS. You don't need to be the best in the world. You just need to be better than the person hiring you at that specific thing. If you know how to set up a Facebook ad and your client doesn't, you have value to offer. If you can write better than the average person and a business needs content, you have value to offer. Stop waiting until you feel ready. You're ready enough. Start messy, get better as you go. The time investment. Real talk, the first few months of freelancing are hard. You're learning how to find clients, how to price, how to deliver work efficiently. It might take you 15 hours to do something you'll later do in 5 hours. But once you get rolling, this income stream is incredibly efficient. I spend 10-12 hours per week and make $38,000 per year. That's $73 per hour average, way better than what most jobs pay, and I control my schedule. Plus, all of this is 1099 income, which means I can deduct expenses, home office, equipment, software, education. After deductions, my effective tax rate on this income is lower than my W-2 income. Common objections. I don't have time for a side hustle. You don't need much time. Start with 5 hours a week. Wake up an hour earlier. Cut out 1 TV show. Use your lunch break. If you can't find 5 hours a week, you don't actually want this. My company doesn't allow freelancing. Check your employee handbook. Most companies only prohibit freelancing with direct competitors or clients. If you work for a tech company and you freelance doing wedding photography on weekends, nobody cares. If they do care and it's in your contract, then okay, skip this income stream or negotiate with your employer. What if I fail or my work isn't good enough? Then you learn and get better. Every person who's successful at freelancing sucked at first. I definitely did. The difference is I kept going. You deliver okay work, get feedback, improve, deliver better work next time. That's how it works. The real power. Here's why this income stream changed my life. $38,000 per year is more than some people's entire salary. I make that working part-time on my own terms. When I got laid off in 2023, company restructuring, not my fault, I didn't panic. Why? Because my freelancing income covered most of my expenses. I had runway. I could be selective about my next job instead of desperate. That's what multiple income streams do. They give you options, they give you leverage, they give you freedom. This took me from I'm doing okay to I'm actually building something here. And once I had this rolling, I could use the extra income to fund the next income stream, which is where things get really interesting. But before we get there, let me recap where we are. We're at the halfway point. If you're still with me, that means you're serious about this. Most people would have clicked away by now. So let me just acknowledge you're doing the work. You're investing time to learn something that could literally change your financial trajectory. That matters. So far, we've covered 4 income streams. 1, optimized W-2 job, $72,000 per year. 2, index fund investing, $12,400 per year. 3, high-yield savings and bonds, $3,800 per year. 4, freelancing, $38,000 per year. That's $126,200 per year total from 4 streams. Not bad. But we've still got 3 more to go, and these next 3 are where most people never get to because they require either more capital, more strategy, or more guts. Let's keep going. Chapter 7, Income Stream Number 5, Dividend Stocks, $8,300 per year. Okay, so we've already talked about index fund investing for growth, but there's another type of stock investing that generates actual cash flow, dividend investing. This is my 5th income stream, currently bringing in about $8,300 per year in dividends. And here's the crazy thing. I don't have to sell anything to get this money. It just hits my account every quarter, whether the stock price goes up, down, or sideways. What are dividends? Quick explanation for anyone who doesn't know. Dividends are cash payments that companies make to shareholders. It's the company sharing its profits with the people who own it. Let's say you own 100 shares of Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola pays a 50-cent dividend per share per quarter. Every 3 months, you get $50 deposited into your brokerage account. You didn't do anything, you just owned the stock. Not all companies pay dividends. Growth companies like Tesla or Amazon typically don't. They reinvest all their profits back into growing the business. But mature, profitable companies like Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, they pay dividends. Why I started dividend investing. Around age 31, I'd been investing in index funds for a few years and had built up about $80,000 in my portfolio. That was great for long-term growth, but it wasn't putting any cash in my pocket unless I sold shares. That's when I started building a dividend portfolio. The strategy. There are 2 main approaches to dividend investing. Approach 1 is high dividend yield. This is where you chase stocks paying 6, 7, 8% dividend yields. Sounds great, right? The problem is super high yields are often a red flag. It usually means the stock price is tanked. Yield equals annual dividend divided by stock price, so when stock price drops, yield goes up, or the company is struggling and might cut the dividend. Approach 2 is dividend growth. This is what I do. I focus on companies that have a track record of consistently paying and increasing their dividend every year for decades. These are companies that might only yield 2 to 4%, but the dividend grows every year. I specifically target dividend aristocrats and dividend kings. These are companies that have increased their dividend for at least 25 consecutive years, aristocrats, or 50-plus years, kings. We're talking about rock-solid businesses: Johnson & Johnson, Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble, 3M, McDonald's, Walmart. The power of dividend growth. Here's why this approach is powerful. Let's say you buy $10,000 of a stock yielding 3%. Year 1, you make $300 in dividends.
But if that company increases its dividend by 7% per year, which many dividend aristocrats do, here's what happens. Year 1, $300. Year 5, $420. Year 10, $590. Year 20, $1,161. Year 30, $2,286. You're making $2,286 per year on your original $10,000 investment. That's a 22.86% yield on your original cost. The stock price probably went up too, but even if it didn't, you're crushing it. This is what they call yield on cost, and it's how you build serious passive income over time. My actual portfolio. I currently have about $185,000 invested in dividend stocks. Here's the breakdown. Core holdings, 60% of my portfolio.
Johnson & Johnson, $28,000, yielding 3.1%. Procter & Gamble, $22,000, yielding 2.5%. Coca-Cola, $18,000, yielding 3.2%. PepsiCo, $16,000, yielding 2.9%. 3M, $14,000, yielding 6.2%. McDonald's, $13,000, yielding 2.3%. REITs, 20% of portfolio. Real estate investment trusts. These are required by law to pay out 90% of their profits as dividends, so they yield higher. Realty income, $20,000, yielding 5.8%. Vici Properties, $17,000, yielding 5.4%. Dividend ETFs, 20% of portfolio. For diversification, I also own dividend-focused ETFs. Vanguard Dividend Appreciation ETF, VIG, $22,000, yielding 2.1%. Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF, SCHD, $15,000, yielding 3.6%. Total portfolio, $185,000. Average yield, about 3.7%. Annual dividend income, $6,845. Wait, I said $8,300 earlier. The extra $1,455 comes from dividend growth over the years. Some of these stocks I bought 5 to 7 years ago, and their dividends have increased significantly since then. How dividends are paid. Most dividend stocks pay quarterly, so every 3 months I get deposits from these companies. It's not one big lump sum, it's spread out, which is actually better for cash flow consistency. Here's what a typical month looks like. Week 1, Johnson & Johnson pays $216. Week 2, Coca-Cola pays $144. Week 3, Realty Income pays $290. Week 4, SCHD pays $135. Total $785 that month. Next month, different companies pay. It averages out to about $690 per month in dividend income. The reinvestment strategy. Here's where it gets really powerful. I reinvest most of my dividends by buying more dividend stocks. Let's say I get $690 in dividends this month. I use that to buy more shares of whichever stock in my portfolio is most undervalued at the moment, or I add to my positions in my core holdings. Next quarter, I now own more shares, so I get more dividends, which I reinvest into more shares, which generates more dividends. This is compound growth in action. Over time, your dividend income snowballs. It starts slow, $50 a month, $100 a month, but after years of reinvesting, you're generating serious cash flow. Building your own dividend portfolio. If you're starting from scratch, here's my recommendation. Step 1. Start with $2,000 to $5,000. You need some capital for this strategy. If you don't have it yet, focus on income streams 1 through 4 first until you've saved up. Step 2, buy dividend ETFs first. Don't try to pick individual stocks right away. Start with SCHD or VIG. These give you instant diversification across 50 to 100 dividend-paying stocks. Put $2,000 into SCHD at 3.6% yield, you're making $72 per year. Not much, but it's a start. Step 3, add individual stocks slowly. Once you have a base with ETFs, start adding dividend aristocrats. Buy 1 or 2 shares at a time if that's all you can afford. The goal is to build a diversified portfolio of 10 to 15 high-quality dividend payers. Step 4, automate your contributions. Just like with index funds, set up automatic investments. Every month, buy more dividend stocks or ETFs. Stay consistent. Step 5, reinvest everything. For the first 10 to 15 years, reinvest 100% of your dividends. Let compound growth do its thing. Later, when you're closer to financial independence, you can start living off the dividend income. The tax situation. Dividends are taxed, and there are 2 types. Qualified dividends, taxed at capital gains rates, 0, 15, or 20% depending on your income. Most dividends from U.S. companies held for 60 days are qualified. Ordinary dividends, taxed as regular income, your marginal tax rate. Most of my dividends are qualified, so I pay 15% tax on them. On $8,300 in dividends, I pay about $1,245 in taxes, leaving me with $7,055. Still way better than a high-yield savings account after taxes. Common concerns. What if the company cuts its dividend? It happens. GE cut their dividend, so did many oil companies during COVID. That's why you diversify. If one company cuts, you've got 14 others still paying. Aren't dividend stocks boring and slow? Yes, that's the point. This isn't get rich quick. This is build wealth reliably. I'll take boring and consistent over exciting and unpredictable any day. Shouldn't I just invest in growth stocks that go up more? Maybe. Growth stocks can absolutely outperform dividend stocks in bull markets, but dividend stocks hold up better in bear markets, and they pay you while you wait. There's room for both in your portfolio. I do both. Index funds for growth, dividend stocks for income. The real benefit. Beyond the money, here's what dividend investing gives you. Psychological momentum.
When you're investing in index funds, you're staring at account balances that fluctuate wildly. Some days you're up $2,000, some days you're down $3,000. It's hard to stay motivated when the only feedback is volatility. With dividend investing, every quarter you get cash deposits. Even if the stock price is down, you still get paid. That steady income is reinforcing. It keeps you investing. It proves the system works. And over time, as your dividend income grows from $100 a month to $500 a month to $1,000 a month, you start to see a path toward financial independence. You can literally calculate, if I keep this up for X more years, my dividends will cover my rent. Then my dividends will cover my expenses. Then I won't need a job. That's powerful. This income stream took me from I'm building wealth to I'm building actual passive income that could eventually replace my salary. It's a different mental game. All right, we're 5 income streams deep. You're probably thinking, okay, Peter, these are solid but somewhat traditional. Where's the interesting stuff? Fair. The last 2 income streams are where I took bigger swings. More risk, more effort, but also more potential. And one of them is the strategy I promised to reveal at the end. Let's get into it. Chapter 8. Income stream number 6. Digital products. $22,000 per year. This is where things get interesting. Income stream number 6 is digital products, and it currently brings in about $22,000 per year. This might be my favorite income stream because of how it scales. You create something once, and you can sell it infinitely with almost zero marginal cost. Think about traditional businesses. If you sell physical products, every sale requires manufacturing, inventory, shipping. If you sell services, every client requires your time. But if you sell a digital product, an ebook, a course, a template, software, you create it once and sell it forever. Your 10th sale takes the same effort as your 1,000th sale, basically zero. How I got started. Around age 32, I'd been freelancing in marketing for a few years. I kept getting asked the same questions by clients. How do I set up Google Analytics? How do I do keyword research? How do I create a content calendar? I was basically doing the same onboarding and training with every new client, explaining the same concepts over and over. One day, I thought, what if I just recorded all this once and packaged it as a course? Then I could sell it to multiple people instead of explaining it individually. So I created my first digital product, a $47 course called SEO Fundamentals for Small Business Owners. It wasn't nothing fancy. I used Zoom to record myself going through slides, edited the videos in iMovie, free, hosted the course on Teachable, about $40 a month, created a basic sales page, launched it. First month, 3 sales, $141 after platform fees. Not exactly life-changing, but here's the thing. I didn't do any marketing. I just posted it on my website and mentioned it to my freelance clients. Those 3 sales were 100% passive. Then I started promoting it, posted about it on LinkedIn, mentioned it in my email newsletter, which I'd been building slowly, offered it to my freelance clients as an upsell. By month 3, I was selling 8 to 12 copies per month. $47 per sale times 10 sales is $470 per month, which is $5,640 per year. That first year, my course made $6,200. Not huge, but considering I spent about 20 hours creating it total, that's $310 per hour.
and it kept selling month after month with almost zero additional effort. Scaling the digital product strategy. Once I saw that one course could work, I expanded. Over the next 3 years, I created Product 1 SEO Fundamentals course. Price was $47, current sales about 8 per month, annual revenue about $4,500. Product 2 Content Marketing Masterclass. Price was $97, current sales about 5 per month, annual revenue about $5,800. Product 3 Done For You Templates Bundle. This one was a game changer. Instead of a course, I packaged all the templates I use for my freelance work: content calendars, SEO audit spreadsheets, email sequences, social media templates, etc. Price $27. Current sales about 25 per month. Lower price, higher volume. Annual revenue about $8,100. Product 4 One-on-one coaching packages. Okay, this technically isn't create once and sell forever, but I'm including it here. I offer 1-hour coaching calls for $200. Most people book me after buying one of my courses. Average bookings about 2 per month. Annual revenue about $4,800. Total from digital products about $23,200. After platform fees, Teachable takes 5% and transaction fees, I net about $22,000. The types of digital products that work. You don't have to create courses. Here are other options that people are making serious money from. Ebooks sell specialized knowledge in written form. Easier to create than courses. Typical price $7 to $47. Templates and tools. Spreadsheets, Notion templates, design templates, scripts, calculators. Super valuable to people who need them. Typical price $5 to $97. Printables. Planners, worksheets, art prints, huge market on Etsy. Typical price $3 to $15. Software or apps. If you can code or hire a developer, create a simple tool that solves a specific problem. Can charge monthly subscriptions. Stock photos, videos, or music. If you're creative, you can sell your work on platforms like Shutterstock or Adobe Stock. Membership sites. Charge monthly for access to a library of resources or a community. The key is to create something that solves a specific problem for a specific group of people. Don't try to sell to everyone. Niche down. My product creation framework. If you want to create a digital product, here's the exact process I use. Step 1. Identify the problem. What problem do people in your niche struggle with? The more specific, the better. Don't create a course on fitness. Create a 4-week program for busy dads to lose the dad bod without giving up pizza. How do you find problems? Ask your audience. Read forums. Look at Amazon reviews of books in your niche. See what people complain about. Step 2. Validate before you build. Don't spend months creating something nobody wants. Validate first. Create a simple sales page describing the product. Set up a wait list or pre-order. Drive some traffic to it. Run a small Facebook ad. Post in relevant communities. See if people sign up. If you get 20 to 30 people on a wait list willing to pay, create the product. If you get 2, rethink your idea. Step 3. Create the MVP, minimum viable product. Don't aim for perfection. Create the simplest version that delivers value. For a course, record 5 to 10 videos explaining the solution. Use your phone camera if you have to. Focus on content, not production quality. For templates, create the core template that solves the main problem. You can add bonus templates later. For an ebook, write 30 to 50 pages of genuinely helpful information. Use Google Docs. Export as PDF. Done. Step 4. Launch to your audience. If you have any audience, email list, social media following, network, tell them about it. Offer an early bird discount to the first buyers. If you don't have an audience, leverage other people's audiences. Post in relevant Facebook groups, Reddit communities, answer questions on Quora, and include a link to your product. Step 5. Iterate based on feedback. Get reviews and testimonials from your first buyers. Ask them what they loved and what was missing. Update your product, add bonus content, make it better. Your version 2.0 will be way better than version 1.0, and that's fine. Just ship version 1.0 first. The marketing side. Creating the product is only half the battle. You need to market it. Here's what works for me. Organic content. I write blog posts and LinkedIn posts related to my niche. Some of them rank on Google and drive traffic to my product pages. This is free, but slow. Email list. Every person who buys a product goes on my email list with permission. I send valuable content weekly and occasionally promote my other products. This is where most of my sales come from now. Facebook ads. I spend about $300 a month on Facebook ads targeting small business owners interested in marketing. It's break-even to slightly profitable, but it grows my email list, which is worth it. Affiliates. I give people a 30% commission to promote my courses. A few marketing influencers with bigger audiences than me have promoted my stuff, which drives sales I'd never get on my own. The real numbers. Let's be honest about the economics here. That $22,000 a year sounds great, but it didn't happen overnight. Year 1, $6,200 with one product. Year 2, $11,800 with two products and better marketing. Year 3, $18,500 with three products and email list growth. Year 4, $22,000 with four products, ads, and affiliates. It took 4 years to get to $22K, and I invested time and money. About 80 hours total creating all four products. About 5 hours per week on marketing, content creation, email list management, ad management. About $3,600 per year on tools, Teachable, ConvertKit for email, Facebook ads. So net profit is more like $18,400 after expenses. But here's the beautiful part. Now that everything is set up, I spend maybe 3 to 4 hours per week maintaining it. I answer customer questions, update products occasionally, write 1 email per week, check my ads. That's it. $18,400 for 150 to 200 hours of work per year is $92 to $122 per hour, and it's completely location independent. I could be traveling, sick, sleeping. Sales still come in. Common mistakes to avoid. Mistake number 1, perfectionism. Your first product will suck compared to your 10th product. That's okay. Ship it anyway. You'll learn more from selling an imperfect product than from endlessly perfecting something nobody sees. Mistake number 2, creating what you want to create instead of what people want to buy. I spent 2 months creating a super advanced SEO course that basically nobody bought because beginners found it too complex and experts didn't need it. Total waste of time. Create what the market wants, not what you find interesting. Mistake number 3, pricing too low. I see people selling courses for $7 because they're afraid nobody will buy at higher prices. Here's the truth. People who pay more are better customers. They take the product more seriously, get better results, leave better reviews, and refer others. I'd rather sell 100 copies at $47 than 500 copies at $7. Same revenue, way less customer support. Mistake number 4, no email list. If you're driving traffic directly to a sales page, you're leaving money on the table. Capture emails first with a free lead magnet, checklist, mini course, PDF guide, then nurture them with valuable content before pitching your product. My email list converts at 5 to 8% to sales. Cold traffic converts at maybe 1%. Who should build this income stream? This is perfect for you if you have specialized knowledge or skills in any area. You enjoy teaching or explaining things. You have some audience, even small. 1,000 email subscribers can generate $10,000 to $20,000 per year with the right products. And you're willing to spend 3 to 6 months building before seeing significant returns. This is not for you if you need money immediately, this takes time, you are not willing to market yourself, or you don't have any specialized knowledge yet. Go get some first. The long-term vision. Here's why I love this income stream beyond the money. It's the most scalable thing I do. My freelancing, capped by hours in the day. My job, capped by salary bands. My dividend stocks, capped by how much capital I have. But digital products, no cap. If I get good at marketing and create products people love, I could sell 10 copies a month or 1,000 copies a month with the same effort. That's leverage.
I've met people who make $10K a month from digital products. Some make $50K a month. Some make millions. It scales in a way that almost nothing else does. Right now, I'm at $22K per year.
My goal is $50K per year within 2 years. How? Create 1 or 2 more products, grow my email list to 10,000 people, currently at 3,200, dial in my Facebook ads, and maybe launch a higher ticket product at $297 to $497. Totally doable. It's just math and effort. Action steps. If you want to build this income stream, here's what to do this month. Week 1. Identify what you know that others would pay to learn. Write down 10 possible product ideas. Week 2. Pick the best idea and create a simple sales page. Describe what the product is, who it's for, what problem it solves, and what they'll get. Price it. Add a waitlist or pre-order button. Week 3. Drive traffic to that page. Post in communities, tell your network, run a small ad test, $50 budget. See if people sign up. Week 4. If you got interest, start creating the product. If you didn't, refine your idea and test again. Don't overthink this. Just start. Your first product won't make you rich, but it'll teach you everything you need to know to make your second and third products successful. All right, we're 6 income streams in. Let's recap the current total. 1. W-2 job, $72,000 per year. 2. Index funds, $12,400 per year. 3. High-yield savings or bonds, $3,800 per year. 4. Freelancing, $38,000 per year. 5. Dividend stocks, $8,300 per year. 6. Digital products, $22,000 per year. Total, $156,500 per year. That's already a 6-figure income from multiple sources. But remember, I told you at the beginning I make $184,000. We're still missing one income stream, the 7th one, the one I've been saving for last. This is the income stream that most people never consider because it sounds complicated or risky or like it's only for wealthy people. But it's none of those things. It's actually the most powerful wealth-building tool I've discovered, and it's generated $27,500 in the last year alone. Let me show you what it is and exactly how I did it. Chapter 9. Income stream number 7. Real estate investing. $27,500 per year. Okay, here we are, the 7th income stream, the one I promised would be worth the wait. Real estate investing. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, I can't afford to buy property, or I don't want to be a landlord, or real estate is for rich people, just hear me out, because I had all those same objections, and I was completely wrong. This income stream currently generates $27,500 per year for me. And here's the crazy part. I don't own any physical property. I don't deal with tenants or toilets. I didn't need a huge down payment, and I started this with just $5,000. Let me explain exactly what I did. The traditional real estate path and why I didn't take it. The traditional advice is save up 20% for a down payment on a rental property, buy the property, rent it out, collect the rent minus mortgage and expenses, and hopefully you cash flow a few $100s a month. So if you want to buy a $300,000 rental property, you need $60,000 down plus closing costs. Let's call it $65,000. Then you have to deal with finding tenants, maintenance, property management, legal issues, and the risk that your tenant stops paying or trashes the place. When I was 31, I had about $40,000 saved between my emergency fund and investment accounts. I definitely didn't have $65,000 for a down payment, and honestly, I didn't want to be a landlord. I had friends who owned rental properties, and it seemed like a huge headache. But I knew real estate was a powerful wealth builder, so I looked for alternative ways to invest in real estate without the downsides. And I found 3 strategies that work incredibly well. Strategy number 1, real estate investment trusts, or REITs. I mentioned REITs briefly in the dividend stocks section, but let me go deeper because this is where most of my real estate income comes from. A REIT is basically a company that owns income-producing real estate. Apartment buildings, office buildings, shopping centers, warehouses, storage facilities, cell phone towers, whatever. They collect rent from all those properties, and by law, they have to pay out 90% of their profits as dividends to shareholders.
When you buy shares of a REIT, you're buying a piece of all those properties without having to deal with any of the landlord responsibilities. You get the income, the appreciation, and the diversification, but you can sell your shares anytime, just like a stock. Here's what I own. Realty Income, ticker O. This is nicknamed the Monthly Dividend Company because they pay dividends monthly instead of quarterly. They own over 11,000 properties, mostly retail, restaurants, convenience stores, with long-term leases to tenants like Walgreens, 7-Eleven, Dollar General. Current investment, $32,000. Dividend yield, 5.8%. Annual income, $1,856. VC Properties, ticker VC. This REIT owns casinos and entertainment properties. They lease them to operators like Caesars and MGM. Casinos aren't going anywhere, and these are long-term triple net leases, meaning the tenant pays for everything. Current investment, $28,000. Dividend yield, 5.4%. Annual income, $1,512. Prologis, ticker PLD. They own logistics and warehouse facilities. With e-commerce exploding, everyone needs warehouse space. Amazon is one of their big tenants. Current investment, $24,000. Dividend yield, 3.2%. Annual income, $768. American Tower, ticker AMT. They own cell phone towers. Every tower generates rent from multiple carriers, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. As 5G expands, demand for towers keeps growing. Current investment, $20,000. Dividend yield, 3.5%. Annual income, $700. Equity Residential, ticker EQR. They own apartment buildings in high-growth markets. People will always need places to live, and renting is more common than ever. Current investment, $18,000. Dividend yield, 4.1%. Annual income, $738. Total invested in REITs, $122,000. Total annual dividend income, $5,574. That's passive real estate income without owning a single property. I never get a call about a broken water heater. I never have to evict anyone. I just collect checks.
Strategy number 2, real estate crowdfunding. This is where things get interesting. Real estate crowdfunding platforms let you invest in actual properties, commercial buildings, apartment complexes, development projects, with as little as $500 to $5,000. The platforms I use are Fundrise and CrowdStreet. Here's how they work. You invest money into a specific property or fund. That money is used to buy or develop real estate. The property generates income, rent, or eventual sale. You get a percentage of that income based on how much you invested. Fundrise. This is the more beginner-friendly platform. You invest in diversified funds of properties rather than individual deals. I started here with $5,000 in 2020. Current investment, $45,000. I've been adding money every year. Average annual return, 8 to 11%. Annual income, $4,050 last year. The income comes as quarterly distributions. Some of it is dividends from rental income, some is capital gains from property appreciation. It varies by year, but I've averaged about 9% annually. CrowdStreet. This is for accredited investors only. You need to make $200K plus a year or have a $1 million net worth excluding your primary residence. I qualified last year. Here, you can invest in individual deals, specific apartment buildings, office buildings, development projects. I've invested in 2 deals so far. Deal 1, $15,000 in a multifamily apartment renovation in Austin. They're renovating an older apartment building, raising rents, and plan to sell in 5 years. Projected returns, 14 to 18% IRR. Deal 2, $10,000 in a self-storage development in Phoenix. They're building a new storage facility in a growing area. Projected returns, 16 to 20% IRR. These are longer-term investments, 5 to 7 years typically. I'm not getting monthly dividends like with REITs. Instead, I get small quarterly distributions and then a big payout when the property sells. So far, invested 14 months ago, Deal 1, $1,200 in distributions, Deal 2, $850 in distributions. Total, $2,050. When these properties eventually sell, I should get back my principal plus hopefully a 50 to 80% gain, but that's years away.
Strategy number 3, house hacking, how I actually bought property. Okay, so I lied a little. I do own one property. Sort of. Let me explain. Last year, I finally had enough saved for a down payment on a house, but instead of buying a single-family home, I bought a duplex using an FHA loan. Here's the genius of this strategy. With an FHA loan, you can buy a property with just 3.5% down instead of 20% if you live in it as your primary residence. And a duplex counts as a primary residence if you live in one unit. So, I bought a $380,000 duplex with a $13,300 down payment plus about $6,000 in closing costs. Total out of pocket, $19,300. I live in one unit. I rent out the other unit for $1,850 a month. My total mortgage payment, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance is $2,640 a month. So, my tenant pays $1,850, I pay $790 out of pocket. That's way cheaper than what I was paying in rent before, $1,400. Plus, I'm building equity. But here's the real kicker. After living there for a year, FHA requirement, I can move out and rent out my unit too. At that point, Unit 1, $1,850 per month, Unit 2, $1,850 per month. Total income, $3,700. Mortgage, $2,640 per month. Maintenance and vacancy reserve, about $300 per month. Net cash flow, $760 per month equals $9,120 a year. And I'm building equity. Every month, part of my mortgage payment reduces the loan balance, which is forced savings, plus the property appreciates, hopefully. This is called house hacking, and it's the smartest way to buy your first property. You live for free, or nearly free, and after a year, you can move out and turn it into a rental. Right now, since I still live there, I'm saving $610 per month in housing costs compared to renting, which is $7,320 a year. I'm counting that as part of my real estate income, even though it's technically expense reduction. The total real estate income. Let's add it all up. REITs, $5,574 a year. Fundrise, $4,050 a year. CrowdStreet, $2,050 a year, so far. House hacking savings, $7,320 a year. Equity buildup in the duplex, $8,500 a year, not cash, but real wealth. Total, $27,494 a year. Actually, let me be more precise. The $8,500 equity isn't cash in my pocket, so the cash income is $19,000 a year. But the equity matters. That's $8,500 in net worth growth every year, which compounds. Either way, this is my largest income stream outside of my job, and most of it is completely passive. Why real estate is so powerful. Real estate has unique advantages that other investments don't. Leverage. With stocks, if you invest $100,000, you own $100,000 of assets. With real estate, you can invest $20,000 and own a $100,000 property. The bank loans you the rest. If that property appreciates 5%, you made $5,000, which is a 25% return on your $20,000 investment. That's leverage. Cash flow. Real estate generates income. Every month, rent comes in. That cash flow can cover your mortgage and expenses, and ideally, you keep the difference. Appreciation. Over time, real estate tends to appreciate. The average home price has increased about 3 to 4% per year historically. That might not sound like much, but on a $300,000 property, that's $9,000 to $12,000 every year. Tax benefits. Real estate has insane tax advantages. You can deduct mortgage interest, property taxes, repairs, depreciation. These deductions can offset your rental income, so you might not pay any taxes on it. My CPA has saved me thousands in taxes just from my duplex. Inflation hedge. When inflation goes up, rents go up, property values go up, but your mortgage stays the same. Real estate is one of the best hedges against inflation.
How to start with little money. You might be thinking, okay, Peter, this sounds great, but I don't have $30,000 to invest in REITs or $20,000 for a down payment. Fair. Here's how to start small. If you have $100 to $500, buy fractional shares of REITs through your brokerage. Most brokers now let you buy partial shares. Start with $100 in realty income. It pays monthly dividends. Watch the money come in. Add more when you can. If you have $500 to $5,000, open a Fundrise account. Their minimum is $500. Start there, see how it works,
add more over time. If you have $10,000 to $20,000, consider house hacking with an FHA loan. Find a duplex or small multifamily property. Live in one unit, rent out the others. Your tenants pay your mortgage. If you have $25,000 plus, if you qualify as an accredited investor, look at CrowdStreet or similar platforms for higher returns. The point is, you don't need to be rich to invest in real estate. You just need to be strategic. Common objections answered. Real estate is too risky. More risky than having all your money in stocks or keeping it all in a savings account losing value to inflation? Everything has risk. Real estate has historically been one of the most stable investments. I don't know anything about real estate. You don't. That's why REITs and crowdfunding exist. Professional managers handle everything. You're just an investor. What if the property value goes down? If you're holding long-term and collecting rent, short-term price fluctuations don't matter. Even in the 2008 crash, rental demand stayed strong. People always need places to live. What if I need the money and it's tied up in property? REITs are liquid. You can sell them any day the market is open. Crowdfunding is less liquid, so only invest money you won't need for 5+ years. That's why you have your emergency fund and short-term savings elsewhere. The game plan. If I were starting over today with $10,000 to invest in real estate, here's exactly what I would do. Month 1, put $2,000 into REIT index funds like VNQ, Vanguard Real Estate ETF. Month 2 to 3, save another $3,000 and open a Fundrise account with $5,000. Month 4 through 12, keep saving. Add $500 to $1,000 per month to REITs and Fundrise. Year 2, start researching house hacking. Save for 3.5% down payment. Year 3, buy a duplex or triplex with FHA loan. House hack it. Year 4 plus, keep building REIT portfolio, add more crowdfunding investments, consider buying a second property. By following this plan, you could have $50,000 to $100,000 in real estate investments within 5 years, generating $4,000 to $8,000 per year in passive income, plus a property you own. The big picture. This income stream took me from I'm saving money and investing to I'm actually building wealth. When you own income-producing assets, whether it's shares of REITs or actual property, you're no longer just trading time for money. You're building a machine that generates cash flow, and that cash flow can be reinvested to buy more assets, which generates more cash flow, which buys more assets. This is how wealthy people think. They don't just save money and hope. They buy assets that produce income and appreciate over time. My goal is to have $500,000 in real estate investments within the next 10 years. At a conservative 6% yield or return, that's $30,000 per year in passive income, just from real estate. Combined with my other income streams, that's enough to cover all my living expenses. That's financial independence, and it's 100% achievable if you're systematic about it. Here's the complete system, how it all works together. Okay, so we've covered all 7 income streams. Let me show you how they all work together because that's where the real magic happens. Here's my current annual income breakdown again. W-2 job, $72,000. Index funds, $12,400. High yield savings and bonds, $3,800. Freelancing, $38,000. Dividend stocks, $8,300. Digital products, $22,000. Real estate, $27,500. Total, $184,000 per year. But it's not just about the amount. It's about how these streams support and amplify each other. The flywheel effect. Think of your income streams like a flywheel. At first, it takes enormous effort to get it spinning, but once it's moving, each push makes it spin faster and faster with less effort. Here's how mine works. Phase 1. Foundation, years 1 to 2. My W-2 job funded everything. I lived below my means, saved aggressively, built my emergency fund, started investing in index funds. This was the hardest phase because you're grinding and you don't see much progress. Phase 2, diversification, years 3 to 4. Once I had $15,000 to $20,000 saved, I started freelancing.
That extra income went straight into investments. More index funds, started buying dividend stocks, opened a Fundrise account. Now I had multiple streams feeding each other. Phase 3, acceleration, years 5 to 6. My investments were growing. My freelancing was steady. I created my first digital product. The income from my side hustles, $30,000 to $40,000 per year at this point, was more than enough to max out my retirement accounts and invest in real estate. The flywheel was spinning faster. Phase 4, multiplication, years 7 to 8. Now everything compounds. My index funds are generating returns, my dividend stocks are paying me and increasing their dividends. My real estate is appreciating and generating cash flow. My digital products are selling on autopilot. Each stream funds the others. Currently, here's what I do with each income stream. W-2 income, $72,000, covers all my living expenses, $48,000 per year, plus taxes. Everything else gets invested. Freelancing income, $38,000, 50% goes to index funds, 25% to dividend stocks, 25% to real estate crowdfunding. Digital product income, $22,000, 70% reinvested into growing the business, ads, tools, 30% goes to index funds. Investment income, index funds, dividends, bonds, real estate, $81,500 total, 80% gets reinvested automatically, 20% I use for discretionary spending or saving for the next property.
See how it works? My job covers my life. My side hustles fund my investments. My investments generate returns that get reinvested. Every stream feeds the others. The security of multiple streams. Here's what changed in my life once I had multiple income streams. 2022. My freelancing income dropped by 40% because I lost 2 big clients. Didn't matter. My other streams covered it. 2023, stock market was down 18%. My index funds dropped in value. Didn't matter. My dividends kept paying, my real estate kept generating rent, my digital products kept selling. 2024, I got laid off from my W-2 job, company restructuring. Should have been devastating, right? It wasn't. My side hustles and investment income covered 70% of my expenses. I had months to find the right next job instead of taking the first offer out of desperation. That's the power of this system. Redundancy, stability, options. The math of financial independence. Let me show you where this is all heading, because that's what really matters. My annual expenses are about $48,000. That includes rent until I move out of my duplex, food, utilities, insurance, car, everything. Currently, my passive and semi-passive income, everything except the W-2 job, is index funds, $12,400, bonds/savings, $3,800, freelancing, $38,000, digital products, $22,000, real estate, $27,500. Total, $112,000 per year. Of that $112,000, about $60,000 is truly passive, investments, digital products. About $52,000 is active but leveraged, freelancing, which takes 10 to 12 hours a week. So I'm already at a point where my non-job income exceeds my expenses by 2.3x. Theoretically, I could quit my job tomorrow. But here's why I haven't. I want to reach fat FI, not lean FI. Lean FI. You have enough passive income to cover your basic expenses. You're financially independent, but you can't really indulge or handle major unexpected costs without stress. Fat FI. You have 1.5 to 2x your expenses covered by passive income. You can travel, upgrade your lifestyle, handle emergencies, and still have money left over. My goal is $100,000 a year in truly passive income. At that point, I could quit everything active and still live comfortably. Here's my timeline to get there. Current passive income, $60,000 per year. 5-year goal, $100,000 per year. Index funds grow to $300,000, generating $30,000 per year from continued contributions and growth. Dividend portfolio grows to $350,000, generating $14,000 per year. Digital products scale to $35,000 per year with better marketing. Real estate portfolio grows to $250,000, generating $21,000. Total, $100,000 passive income.
That's achievable. It requires consistent investing, scaling my digital products, and maybe buying one more property. But it's not a fantasy, it's math. Your roadmap. All right, so you've seen my complete system. Now let me give you a roadmap for building your own. Year 1, foundation. Q1, optimize your main income, ask for a raise or start job hunting, cut expenses and save aggressively. Aim for 20 to 30% of income. Build emergency fund to $5,000. Q2 to Q3, open Roth IRA and start investing in index funds $200 to $500 a month. Continue building emergency fund to $10,000. Research freelancing opportunities in your field. Q4, start freelancing on the side. Aim for $500 to $1,000 a month. Max out Roth IRA if possible. $583 a month equals $7,000 per year. Total year 1 savings/investments goal, $15,000 to $20,000. Year 2, diversification. Q1 to Q2, scale freelancing to $1,500 to $2,500 a month. Open taxable brokerage and start buying dividend stocks. Open high-yield savings account and Fundrise account, $1,000 to $5,000 minimum. Q3 to Q4, create your first digital product, ebook, course, or templates. Continue maxing retirement accounts. Total year 2 income from side hustles, $20,000 to $30,000. Total invested by end of year 2, $40,000 to $60,000. Years 3 to 4, scaling. Scale freelancing and digital products to $40,000 to $60,000 per year combined. Invest all side hustle income aggressively. Start researching real estate options, house hacking, or REITs. Total invested by end of year 4, $250,000 to $350,000. Passive income should be $20,000 to $40,000 per year by this point. Year 10, financial independence. Passive income exceeds living expenses. Choose to keep working or not. It's your choice now. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a get-rich-for-sure scheme that takes 8 to 10 years of consistent action. The hard truths. Before we wrap up, I need to be honest about some things. 1, this is hard. Building multiple income streams while working full-time is exhausting sometimes. There were periods where I worked 60 to 70-hour weeks between my job and my side hustles. I missed social events. I said no to trips. It was a trade-off. 2, not every stream will work for you. Maybe you hate freelancing. Maybe you're not interested in real estate. That's fine. Pick 3 to 4 streams that align with your skills and interests. You don't need all 7. 3, you'll mess up. I've made bad investments, lost money on failed projects, wasted time on things that didn't work. That's part of the process. You learn and adjust. 4, it takes longer than you want. I'm 35 and I started at 27. 8 years. That's not overnight success, but it's also not 40 years of grinding at a job I hate hoping for a decent retirement. 5, you need to be comfortable with delayed gratification. While your friends are spending money on new cars and expensive vacations, you'll be investing. That's hard, but the reward is freedom later.
The real question is, look, you've been watching for a while now. You've seen the complete system. You understand how it works. Now the question is, are you actually going to do anything with this information? Because here's what usually happens. People watch videos like this, get inspired, think, yeah, I should do that, and then nothing. They go back to their regular life. 3 months later, they're in the exact same place wishing they had started. Don't be that person. I'm not saying you need to do everything tomorrow, but you need to do something this week. Pick one action. Calculate your net worth and create a financial dashboard. Open a Roth IRA and make your first investment. Send 10 outreach emails to potential freelance clients. Write an outline for a digital product you could create. Research REITs and buy your first share. Just do one thing. Then, next week, do another thing. Then another. Small actions compounded over time create massive results. Final thoughts. 8 years ago, I was broke, stressed, and felt like I'd never get ahead financially. I made $52,000, had $31,000 in debt, and was barely saving anything. Today, I have 7 income streams generating $184,000 per year. I have over $400,000 in net worth. I'm on track to be financially independent by 40. I'm not special. I'm not a genius. I didn't get lucky. I just followed a system, stayed consistent, and didn't quit when it got hard. If I can do this,
you can do too. The blueprint is right here. The strategies are proven. The only question is whether you're willing to put in the work. Because here's the truth. In 5 years, you're going to be 5 years older regardless. The question is, where do you want to be financially in 5 years? In the same place you are now, or on the path to financial independence? That choice is yours, and you make that choice today with the actions you take this week. So, what's it going to be? If you got value from this, make sure you download the free resource I've put together. It's a spreadsheet tracker to help you build and monitor your own income streams. Link is in the description. And if you want more content like this, you know what to do. Thanks for sticking with me for the last couple hours. Seriously, the fact that you watched this entire thing tells me you're serious about changing your financial future. Now, go do something about it. Talk soon.